Welcome to another session of Grade 9 Mathematics, Chapter 2, Polynomials. Dear students, in this fifth part of the chapter, we shall discuss in detail methods like Middleton splitting and Factor Theorem, and also try to apply these methods to solve the questions of NCERT exercise 2.4, question number 4 and question number 5. Let's first learn the Middleton splitting method and then use it in NCERT exercise 2.4. Now, as you could see over here, NCERT exercise 2.4, question number 4, factorize. The first question is 12x squared minus 7x plus 1. The question is 12x squared minus 7x plus 1. As you could see here, how many terms are there? There are 3 terms. So the very first step is to multiply the numerical coefficient of the first term and the last term. So here the numerical coefficient of the first term is 12 and the last term is 1. So 12 into 1 happens to be 12. And the second step is to find the factors of 12. Yes, and the factors should be such a way that on addition or on subtraction gives you the middle term, that is minus 7. So if you could go by the factors of 12, that is 12 into 1 is 12, you could go and check that 3 4s is also 12. And 3 and 4 are such factors, yes, which when added gives me 7. But then what do I need? I need minus 7. So if you could see in the second step, what I've done is minus 7x is written as minus 3x minus 4x. Yes, let me explain you again. The first term is written as it is 12x squared, and the middle term, that is minus 7x, is split into minus 3x minus 4x, and then plus 1, which is the last term. Now in the third line, as you could see here, what I've done is made a pair. The first 2 terms becomes a first pair and the last 2 terms becomes the next pair. And from the first pair, I could take 3x as common of 12x squared minus 3x. So 3x is common. So what am I left inside? 4x minus 1. Similarly, if I could consider the second pair, that is minus 4x plus 1, what is common? 1. So the minus sign stays there and 1 is the common factor. So what goes inside the bracket? 4x minus 1. So 4x minus 1, which is a common bracket, is written once. And what is left outside the bracket? 3x minus 1, that is also written in the last step. So the factors of 12x squared minus 7x plus 1 are 3x minus 1 and 4x minus 1. Now let us try to understand it further by solving the second side. The second question is 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. What is the first step? The first step is to multiply the numerical coefficient of the first term and the last term. So here 2 gets multiplied with 3 gives you 6. And then the second step is to find the factors of 6 such a way that on addition or on subtraction they give you the middle term. So 2 3s are 6 is the number, and the factors of 6 include 1, 2, 3 and 6. And if you try to make up a pair, 1 and 6 are the factors of 6, and they on addition gives you plus 7. So that's what I've done. If you could see in the second line of the solution for question number 2, what I've done is the first term is written as it is, that is 2x squared, and 7x is split into 6x plus 1x, and then plus 3 the last term. In the next step, the third line of the solution, what I've done is made pair. The first 2 terms becomes a first pair and the next 2 term becomes the second pair. And in the first pair, 2x is common. What is common to 2x square plus 6x? 2x is common. So what is left out inside the bracket? X plus 3. Then plus, what is common in 1x plus 3? Except 1, nothing else. So 1 comes out as a common factor, and then inside the bracket you have x plus 3. So again you have got a common bracket x plus 3. So that is written once as part of the last line of the solution. And what was left outside the bracket? To begin with 2x and then plus 1. So 2x plus 1 becomes the second bracket. So the factors of 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 are 2x plus 1 into x plus 3. Let us solve the next sum. The question is 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. So as we did with the last two sums, multiply the numerical coefficient of the first term and the last term. So 6 into 6, it happens to be 36. Now, how can I get plus 5 using the factors of 36? Yes, 9 4s is 36. And 9 minus 4 is plus 5. Okay, so that's what, if you could see, I've done in the second line of the solution. 6x squared is written as it is. 5x is actually represented as plus 9 minus 4. So plus 9x minus 4x. That gives me 5x. So the 5x is split into plus 9x minus 4x. And the last term is written as it is. Yes, you found the mistake correctly. The last term, there is a mistake over here. It is minus 6. Very good. So instead of plus 6, it has to be minus 6. So what's the next thing? Making pairs. So in pairs, what would come out from the first pair? Yes, 3x would come out. And in the bracket, you'll be left with 2x plus 3. Minus, what would come out as common from 4x plus 6? Again, 2 will come out. So 2 comes out. What is left out in the bracket is 2x plus 3. Excellent. Now, so what's the final answer? 3x minus 2 and 2x plus 3. So these are the factors of 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. How about the fourth question? The question is 3x squared minus x minus 4. Now, if you go by the first step, I have to multiply 3 with 4. So 3 4s are 12. And what do I need to get using the factors of 12? Over here, the middle term has what coefficient? Minus 1. So using the factors of 12, I have to get minus 1. So think about the factors of 12. 1, yeah, and then we have 2, 3, 4, yeah, 6, and the number 12 itself. Which two numbers or which two factors can be used to get minus 1? Hello, I can use 3 and 4. Yes, but then how? 3 minus 4. So 3 and minus 4. So 3 minus 4 gives me what? Minus 1. And 3 4s is 12. So that's what I've done in the second line of the solution for question number 4. 3x squared, the first term is written as it is. The middle term, that is minus 1x, is written as plus 3x minus 4x. So here the middle term is split into plus 3x minus 4x, and the last term is written as it is. That is minus 4. Now, the next term is making pairs. From the first pair, 3x is common. So what is left out in the bracket? X plus 1. In the second pair, that is minus 4x minus 4, what is common? 4 is common. So what is in the bracket? X plus 1. So finally, we have got our factors, which is 3x minus 4 and x plus 1. I hope you have understood the solution to question number 4 and now are more or less thorough with the Middleton splitting method. Now, if you have understood the Middleton splitting method, let's proceed further and recall what we have learned as part of factor theorem. I'll put it in short. We have discussed this, that the factor theorem says that if you have a given linear polynomial as a factor of any other polynomial, then if the remainder is 0, we can conclude that the given linear polynomial is a factor. And for example, as is in this case, we had checked whether x plus 2 is a factor. How? By taking x plus 2 is equal to 0 and hence getting x is equal to minus 2. And then replacing x with minus 2. As you could see over here, I solved it and then I got the answer as 0, which helped me to conclude that x plus 2 is a factor of x cubed plus 3x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now this is something that we have already discussed in the previous session. So I'm not getting too much details of this. But then I shall use this factor theorem and try to solve a few questions of NCERT exercise 2.4, question number 5. Now, NCERT exercise 2.4, question number 5 is also all about factorize, that is to find factors. And there are 4 questions. Yes. If you could see, we had already discussed that you can actually tell from the polynomial itself that how many factors would it have. How? Yes, from the degree of the polynomial. Say, if the degree, in the first question, what is the degree of the polynomial? It is 3. Hence, it is expected that it would have 3 factors. Yes, likewise for second, third and fourth also, since the degree is 3, it is expected that it is going to have 3 factors. What if the degree was 2? That means the polynomial will have only 2 factors, as you could see in the previous cases. 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. Here, the degree was 2 and hence it had only 2 factors. 3x squared minus x minus 4. Here also, the degree was 2 and hence it had only 2 factors. Now let's get to the solution of these 4 questions one by one. So let's solve the first question, which is x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Now, the very first thing is to find the factor. One factor out of the 3. Now, how to go by that is, go to the constant term of the question. So what is the constant term? The constant term is 2. Which are the factors of 2? 1 and number 2 itself. So we have got factors of 2 as 1 and 2. So I can also conclude that the factors are in fact plus 1, minus 1, plus 2 and minus 2. So what I shall try now is put the values of plus 1 or minus 1, plus 2 or minus 2 into the values of x, and then try to find the value of p of x. Now, as you could see over here, I put the value of x is equal to 1 and the remainder happens to be 0. So what can I conclude from this? That x minus 1 is a factor. So in the very first step, you have found one of the factors by the trial and error method. That is putting the different values one by one. So once you have got that x minus 1 is one of the factor, what we can do is, we can use this x minus 1 to divide the question, that is p of x, which is x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2, by doing the long division method. So as you could see over here, x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 2 has been solved by the long division method. So if I go by the long division method, yes, what do I have? X. What do I need now? X cubed. So x is multiplied with x squared, which gives me x into x squared gives me x cubed, and At the same time, minus 1 will also get multiplied with x square. So I'll get minus 1x squared. Now, the next step is changing sign. Yes, of the second term, of the second row. Yes, so x cube, which is plus, becomes minus, and x square, which is minus, becomes plus. Now, let me solve it further. X cube minus x cube get cancelled out. Minus 2x squared plus x squared gives me minus x squared. And then the remaining minus x plus 2 comes down. Now, what do I need? I need minus x squared. What do I have? I have x. So what should x be multiplied with so that I get minus x squared? Yes, x should be multiplied with minus x. X should be multiplied with minus x. So x into minus x gives me minus x squared. Yes, and at the same time, minus 1 will also get multiplied with minus x. So minus 1 into minus x gives me plus x. Okay, so now what will happen in the next step is changing sign. So in the second row, x squared, which was minus, becomes plus, and x, which was plus, becomes minus. So minus x squared plus x squared gets cancelled out. And if you could see, minus x becomes minus 2x. And then plus 2 also comes down. Okay, so we'll continue with the long division method. I have x, what do I need? Minus 2x. So what should x be multiplied with? X should be multiplied with minus 2. Okay, so x when multiplied with minus 2 gives me minus 2x. And at the same time, minus 1 also gets multiplied with minus 2, giving me plus 2. And as we did in the previous steps, changing sign, minus 2x becomes plus 2x, and plus 2 becomes minus 2. And then we solve it, minus 2x plus 2x get cancelled out, plus 2 minus 2 also get cancelled out. And hence, as expected, the remainder is 0. Why as expected? Because x minus 1, which is a divisor, was a factor. So the remainder is expected to be 0. Now, coming to the last step of factorization, all that we have to do is you have to middle term split the quotient that you have got. What is a quotient? X squared minus x minus 2. So when you middle term split it, what do you get? You get the factors as x minus 2 and x plus 1. Now, as you could see over here, in the last line, I have written all the 3 factors. So first factor, which I have got by trial and error method, that is x minus 1. And the remaining 2 factors, that is x minus 2 and x plus 1, which I have got by middle term splitting x squared minus x minus 2. Yes, it appears to be a lengthy process, but then if you go by the logical way, it is very easy to do. So the first is trial and error, but how will you decide which numbers to be put? Based on the factors of the constant term. Okay. The second step is long division method, and the third step is the middle term splitting of the quotient. Let us understand it further by doing another question. The second question of exercise 2.4, question number 4 is x cube minus 3x square minus 9x minus 5. Now, as we did in the previous step also, we'll start with the trial and error method. How? Which is a constant term, 5 is a constant term. So what would be the factors? 1 and 5 itself. So for the trial and error, the numbers would be plus 1, minus 1, plus 5 and minus 5. And then you can put one by one in all of them and try to find the first factor. So as you could see over here, minus 1 was put, which helped me to conclude that x plus 1 is a factor. Now once I found x plus 1 is a factor, all that we did over here is do the long division method. So x plus 1 is used to divide x cubed minus 3x squared minus 9x minus 5. So you can proceed with the long division method as done over here, and at the end you get the remainder as 0 and the quotient as x squared minus 4x minus 5. What is the last step? The last step is to do the middle term splitting of the quotient, which is x squared minus 4x minus 5. When you do the middle term splitting of x squared minus 4x minus 5, the answer that you'll be getting is x minus 5 and x plus 1. So in the last line, I'll write all the three factors of the given polynomial. X plus 1, which was obtained by the trial and error method, and then the remaining two, that is x minus 5 and x plus 1, which was obtained by the middle term splitting of the quotient, which was x squared minus 4x minus 5. I hope you have understood the solution and are able to do on your own. If that's the case, let's go to question number 3. The question number 3 is x cubed plus 13x squared plus 32x plus 20. The method remains the same, finding the factors of 20. So what are the factors of 20? 1, 2, 4, 5, 10 and 20 itself. So the possible numbers for trial and error could be plus 1 minus 1, plus 2 minus 2, plus 4 minus 4, plus 5 minus 5, plus 10 minus 10 and plus 20 minus 20. I shall put the numbers one by one and try to find which could be the first possible factor. And as you could see on the screen, x is equal to minus 1 was put, which gave me the remainder as 0 and helped me to conclude that x plus 1 is a factor. As we did with the previous two sums, I used x plus 1 to divide x cubed plus 13x squared plus 32x plus 20. Yes, if you could go by the long division method correctly, since x plus 1 is already a factor, I would get the remainder as 0, and over here I got the quotient as x squared plus 12x plus 20. Now, what's the last step? The last step is simply finding the factors of x squared plus 12x plus 20 by the middle term splitting method. So when x squared plus 12x plus 20 is factorized by middle term splitting, you'll get the answer as x plus 10 and x plus 2. So the final line would be all the three factors, x plus 1, which I have obtained by the trial and error method, and x plus 10 and x plus 2, which I have obtained by the factorization or middle term splitting of x squared plus 12x plus 20, which is my quotient. I hope the solution to this particular question is clear to everyone. Question number 4 says that 2y cubed plus y squared minus 2y minus 1. Now, as you could see over here, the constant term is 1 and the only factor of 1 is 1 itself. So, the possible number for the trial and error method could be plus 1 or minus 1. So, I'll just do that, and you could see over here that I have got, when I put minus 1, replacing the y over here, the remainder is 0. So what does that mean? Y plus 1 is a factor. Y plus 1 is a factor. Now, once I've got one of the factors, what shall I do next? Yes, the long division method. And since y plus 1 is a factor, and if I do correctly the long division method, I would get the remainder as 0. And you could see the quotient in this case is 2y squared minus y minus 1. Now, in the last step, what am I supposed to do? Yes, the middle term splitting of 2y squared minus y minus 1. Now, when it is middle term splitted, all that you will get is two factors. One of them is y minus 1 and the other one is 2y plus 1. So my final answer would include the y plus 1, which I had obtained by the trial and error method, and 2 and y minus 1 and 2y plus 1, which are obtained by factorizing 2y square minus y minus 1 by the middle term splitting method. So this was solution to question number 4. So with this, we come to the end of NCERT exercise 2.4. Dear students, please note the two concepts that we have discussed in this particular part of the video is extremely important for the examination point of view as well as for your grade 10 preparation. So ensure that you practice these two concepts very well and before we proceed to the next content. This is all for now. Take care of yourself until we meet next time with another session. Thank you.